In the headlines, residents flee as bandits launch fresh attack in Zongo-Nkatav local government area of Kaduna State. Police arrest 54 bandits in Sokoto, including doctor who treats bandits leader Turji. 4 million people in Zamfara risk contracting tropical diseases. And Washington warns of a horrific war in Ukraine as Moscow accuses the United States of drumming up the threat of Russian invasion. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Zainab Bala. Hello and welcome. Now, bandits launched a fresh attack on Kurmi Masara in Atiap Chiefdom, Zongo-Nkatav local government area of Kaduna State. A youth leader of Atiap Chiefdom, Gabriel Joseph, who confirmed the attack to Daily Post on Tuesday, said the gunmen shot freely as there were no security personnel to counter them. While the vigilantes in the area ran for their lives and residents of Kurmi Masara deserted their community to a nearby settlement of the same Kurmi Masara axis. The attack is coming less than 24 hours after gunmen stormed Kurmi Masara community, killed 11 persons and burnt over 30 houses and properties. Police in Sokoto say security operatives have killed 23 bandits and arrested 54 others, including a health worker who treated bandits leader Bello Turji when security operatives shot him. The bandits were arrested in different operations across the 3 local government areas of Sokoto State between January 20th and 29th. The areas include Ilela, Raba, Goronyo, all in the eastern part of the state. The report.
Among those arrested were Musa Kamarawa, who had been supplying arms and ammunition, including a gun truck, to bandits, and one Abubakar Kamarawa, a health worker. Abubakar admitted having been treating bandits who were injured in a gun battle with security operatives and supplying them with intoxicants. He recalled treating Turji after he gets injured on the head during his encounter with security forces. Abubakar, a trained health personnel who owned a pharmaceutical shop at Kamarawa, said Musa introduced him to Turji for treatment after an injury. According to him, bandits used to come to his shop for treatment and intoxicants, including pentaxazine injections. He told police that he has repented since his arrest and trial about 2 years ago and has left the area, now residing in the state's metropolis. On his part, Musa said that he has been supplying the bandits with arms and recently bought a gun truck for Kachala Halilu, a bandit operating in Sokoto and Zamfara, at the cost of 28.5 million naira. He said the gun truck is brought in from Libya by one man in Niger Republic who brought it in through his brother Aminu to deliver to Kachala. Another suspect, Samuel Chinedu, confessed to have been supplying bandits with pentaxazine injections, each at the cost of 18,500 naira. Police arrested him at Pinnacle Hotel, Sokoto, while waiting to collect his money from Abubakar. Parading the suspects, Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of operation, Zaki Ahmed, noted that out of the 54 suspects, 37 were bandits.
About 23 criminals were neutralized, and about 37 of them were arrested. Several assorted arms and ammunition were recovered. Charms, hard rock, operational vehicles of the criminals were recovered as exhibit.
According to him, 32 AK-47 rifles, 2 RPG, 1 rocket launcher and 2,600 live ammunition were recovered from them. Other items recovered include 150 cows and 16 technophones. Ahmed stated that investigation is ongoing, after which the suspect would be prosecuted.
Elsewhere, police in Katsina has arrested 50-year-old Abdullahi Bello, a spiritualist, for offering prayers and providing charms to bandits in the state to enable them carry out their nefarious activities against people in the state. The police public relations officer in the state, Isa Gambo, paraded the suspect along with 4 of the bandits involved in Ammar's kidnap at the command's headquarters on Monday. The police said it recovered 2 motorcycles, 8 mobile phones and several charms from the spiritualist. The acclaimed spiritualist, who hails from Gandamo village in the Niger Republic, is fingered in the abduction of one Ammar Abdul Qadir by a team of 7 bandits from his residence in Katsina metropolis on 12th January 2022. Security forces in Zamfara state say 32 victims kidnapped from various locations in the state have been rescued. The 32 kidnapped victims were abducted by suspected terrorists in Niger, Katsina and Zamfara state. Zamfara State Police Public Relations Officer Superintendent Mohammed Shehu said the police tactical operatives deployed along Mada axis while on confidence building patrol acted on intelligence information. Rescued 10 kidnapped victims who were abducted along Shemi Funtua Road in Katsina state in January.
32 kidnapped victims have been rescued in Zamfara state, northwest Nigeria, by security forces. The victims were abducted by suspected terrorists in Niger, Katsina and Zamfara states. 10 of the victims are natives of Birnin Magaji local government area of Zamfara state who were abducted while returning from Lagos state to their hometown. The Zamfara State Police Command Public Relations Officer Superintendent Mohammed Shehu said the police also rescued 3 kidnapped victims, with 2 of them hailed from Kaduna, while 1 from Kebbi State. He told journalists that military personnel have rescued 19 kidnapped victims at Dansadao Emirate in Maru local government area of Zamfara State and handed over to the police. They include 15 males and 4 females. They were abducted in Niger State by suspected terrorists while working on their farmlands and taken to a forest in Dansadao area where they spent 2 months in captivity.
On 26 January 2022, police tactical operatives deployed along Mada axis while on confidence building patrol acted on intelligence information and rescued 10 kidnapped victims who were abducted along Shemi Funtua Road in Katsina State on 10th January 2022. The victims are from Birnin Magaji local government area of Zamfara State, and they were abducted while coming back from Lagos State on their way to Birnin Magaji. They were properly treated and debriefed by the police handed over to their families. So the 10 victims that were rescued on 26 January 2022 have been medically checked, debriefed, and all of them were handed over to their respective families. Rescue of 3 kidnapped victims we held from Kaduna and Kebbi states. On 30 January 2022, police tactical operatives, the same police tactical operatives who rescued the 10 kidnapped victims, also while on rigorous patrol along Mada axis, acted on intelligence information that led to the unconditional rescue of 3 kidnapped victims who were abducted along Shemi Funtua Road on 10th January 2022. 2 of the rescued victims held from Kaduna State, while the other one from Kebbi State.
The rescue of the 32 kidnapped victims is coming barely 2 months when 97 persons were freed by terrorist kingpin Bello Turji.
So coming from Katsina State, fuel scarcity is taking a toll on motorists as long queues gradually return to fueling stations. The situation is also causing difficulty not only to motorists who spend hours on queues before getting the commodity, but also other people in the state. Trust TV's Abdullahi Ahmadi was there.
Though the federal government decided to reverse its earlier decision to remove fuel subsidy Yet some petroleum marketers here in Katsina have a belief that the subsidy will be removed sooner or later. The inconsistency in decision-making from the side of the government has injected doubts in the minds of many consumers and marketers in Katsina State. Most of the filling stations, especially in Katsina Metropolis, were seen closed as at the time of compiling this report. The first scarcity, which is hitting hard on the consumers, is largely attributed to the closure of some filling stations by the independent petroleum marketers in anticipation of possible subsidy removal. These consumers lamented the attitude of some independent petroleum marketers who hoard the commodity with the intention of diverting it. I got the fuel, but I was very patient. The situation is pathetic. There's no fuel. The shortage is the cause of the scarcity. Maybe due to hoarding. There's need for the independent petroleum marketers to open their filling stations and dispense fuel to consumers. I want the task force on petroleum products in Katsina State to look into this issue to put an end to it with immediate effect. Alhaji Abdulmajid is the manager NNPC filling station Tayoyi in Katsina Metropolis, who said there is no point having fuel scarcity in Katsina and called on those holding the commodity to cause artificial scarcity to desist from doing so.
Little scarcity in Nigeria now. We thank God we are having fuel here always, and whenever we have that fuel, we dispense to the consumers as we're supposed to.
The first scarcity has further accelerated the economic predicament already hitting hard on the lives of the people of the state.
But if you look at the situation, you know it is caused due to the scarcity. Because if it is available, you will not see this line. That's one of the factors. And if you want to look for another factor, which we don't know, but it may be possible. Maybe there are some filling stations, those that have this fuel, but because of their ambition of, I don't know what they may think, so they may refuse to open it and serve people.
When contacted, the Department of Petroleum Resources Katsina State Office, DPR, assured to look into the issue and get back to Trust Television as soon as they are done with their meeting. But up to the time of compiling this report, there was no response from that end. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Want Nigerians to demand accountability from the members of the 9th National Assembly and engage in associated conversations during campaigns of 2023 elections. The leader of the group, Anthony Ubani, stated this on Monday while briefing the House of Representatives press corps in Abuja. The coalition charged the legislators to sponsor and pass bills that are relevant to their constituents. The group says CSOs are collaborating in productive partnership with the National Assembly to promote legislative accountability for the good of all Nigerians.
You as watchdog, you're trying to make sure that these elected officials, public officials, function in a manner that they serve the citizens. We should always remember it's about the citizens. We've forgotten about that in this country. Everything comes down to citizens. The ordinary people who are neglected out there. That is why these people were elected, to represent them. Okay, mentioned about bills dumping. The focus really is to be able to identify that you're not just making laws, but you're making what we call technically high-impact legislation.
This is our project. We agree no less with the Speaker when he said that, of course, bills making is not the only function. He's right. But the full story is that there are other core functions. And let me also make us realize or reminded that this sponsorship is not actually the true story. And that is what we have done.
And then this engagement, not only are we going to have issues around accountability, but we're going to have accountability from an informed perspective, informed stance, that we're in the premises of the National Assembly talking to the press corps of the member of the National Assembly goes a long way to show that we want to work from inside. We want to be part of this platform. That what we need to do is to engage them in such a way to get the information, and we need you to put it out there for Nigerians. The 11 or 12 of us here, no matter how much information, factual information we have, without you putting it out there correctly to Nigerians, there is to an extent that we can go.
And amongst others, such as gender mainstreaming. I mean, that's also another key conversation to be having right now that we're looking at constitutional review amendment amongst other engagements with the legislators. And again, we said we'll also be co-opting the media as partners. So it's a win-win situation. You are part of this conversation. We cannot have structured, consistent conversation on these matters without you leading the forefront, because you're frontliners. So it's our duty. It's a collective drive with both the media and the civil society.
You're watching Trust TV News Update. Coming up, confusion over Finance Act. Stay with us.
Coronavirus disease, COVID-19, is an infectious disease caused by SARS-CoV-2 virus. Most people who fall sick with COVID-19 will experience mild to moderate symptoms and recover without special treatment. However, some will become seriously ill and require medical attention. The virus can spread from an infected person's mouth or nose in small liquid particles when they cough, sneeze, speak, sing, or breathe. These particles range from larger respiratory droplets to smaller aerosols. You can be infected by breathing in the virus if you're near someone who has COVID-19, or by touching a contaminated surface and then touching your eyes, nose, or mouth. The virus spreads more easily indoors and in crowded settings. Maintain a safe distance from others, at least 2 meters, even if they don't appear to be sick. Wear a mask in public, especially indoors or when physical distancing is not possible. Clean your hands often. Use soap and water or an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Cover your nose and mouth with your bent elbow or a tissue when you cough or sneeze. Stay home if you feel unwell. Get vaccinated. Properly fitted masks can help prevent the spread of the virus from the person wearing the mask to others. Masks alone do not protect against COVID-19 and should be combined with physical distancing and hand hygiene. Protect yourself and others around you by knowing the facts and taking appropriate precautions. Follow advice provided by your local health authority. This message is brought to you by Trust TV.
All right, welcome back. You're still watching Trust TV News Update. Here are our top stories. Bandits launched a fresh attack on Kurmi Masara in Atiap Chiefdom, Zongon local government area of Kaduna State. And police in Sokoto say security operatives have killed 23 bandits and arrested 54 others, including a health worker who treated the bandits' leader Bello Turji when security operatives shot him. Still ahead, Nigeria has recorded 158 new cases of COVID-19 across 10 states and the Federal Capital Territory. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, in its update for Monday, January 30th, said 296 persons were discharged after recovering from the infection, while 1 person died of COVID complications. Nigeria now has a total of over 200,000 cases, over 200,000 recoveries, and over 3,000 deaths logged in the 36 states and the FCT. Meanwhile, South Africa has scrapped isolation for people who test positive for COVID-19 without symptoms, and also reduced the isolation period for people who test positive for COVID-19 from 10 days to 7 days. National HIV prevalence remains 2.8%, even as the National Agency for the Control of AIDS estimates that there are 1.9 million people living with HIV in Nigeria. A consultant clinical pharmacist in charge of Art Pharmacy, Maitama District Hospital, Gesa Adonist, says management of HIV patients is better now.
Based on the national HIV treatment and prevention guidelines, somebody has to go through testing, counseling and testing. You counsel the patient first. If he's negative, you counsel him on how to stay negative forever. If he's positive, you counsel him on the fact that he's positive. Then you now refer the patient to where the person can access treatment or management. And we usually will have HIV drugs based on the national guideline. Of course, when they come, there are some basic vital investigations that we do, but because we are practicing test and starts, we make sure they start immediately. Once we discover they are positive, we start immediately based on test and start principles that we are using. So we involve, based on the investigation, we know whether the particular combination of drug that they will be on. And usually it's the first line drug that they start with. We have first line drugs, which we use in managing patient, the naive patient. Naive means somebody who is not on HIV before. Once you are positive, you will now, be placed on first line combination. It must be triple combination. So you'll be on the three combination of first line drugs. If along the line the patient fails first line, we move the patient to second line. If the patient fails second line, we move the patient to third line. So we have about 3 categories of treatment. We use nothing but drugs. The only thing is we reserve some for particular class. There are some we use for first line, some we use for second line. Then we have those that we use for third line. They are very, very, very effective.
Zamfara State Government says over 4 million residents are at risk of contracting lymphatic filariasis in the state. The State Commissioner for Health, Aliyu Abubakar, made this known during the occasion to mark World Neglected Tropical Diseases Day in Gusau, Zamfara State.
The NTDs, mostly parasitic infections, are the major causes of preventable blindness and disability. They threaten more than 1.7 billion people worldwide who live in the poorest communities, making them vulnerable to the mild and severe lifelong impairment. These diseases blind, disable, and disfigure people, taking away not only their health, but also their chances of staying in school, earning a living, or even being accepted by their family or community. Those affected are usually stigmatized, and that alone can have a devastating impact on them and their families. Nigeria as a whole, and Zamfara State in particular, is at risk of contracting one or more of the NTDs. The NTDs are trachoma, a blinding disease. 7 LGAs in Zamfara State are under control. 2 river blindness, with 6 endemic LGAs are no longer at risk. 3 lymphatic filariasis, where 14 LGAs are endemic, and more than 4 million people living in the state are at risk of the disease.
Elsewhere, a magistrate court in Kano remands former Commissioner for Works Muazu Magaji to custodial facility pending hearing on the case of alleged defamation of character instituted against him by Governor Abdullahi Ganduje. Trust TV correspondent Idris Jibril reports that some youth also stormed the court premises protesting against the arraignment. The report.
Muazu Magaji Dan Sarauniya arriving to be arraigned before the State Magistrate Court following his arrest on allegation of defamation of character against the Governor of Kano State. After hearing the content of the first information report, Mr. Magaji pleaded not guilty to all the 3-count charges. Meanwhile, counsel to the accused barrister Garzali Detti applied for bail on the ground of health condition, which the presiding judge, Justice Aminu Gabari, denied the application and ordered the accused to be remanded in prison custody.
4 counts of charges were read to him. All the charges he pleaded not guilty. Application for his bail has been placed by my humble self. The court delivered a ruling that for his application to be granted, we should wait till the 3rd day of February 2022.
Outside the court premises, hundreds of youth came out with placards to demand justice, during which the judge initially refused to attend the case due to the crowd. However, following an intervention by counsel to Mr. Magaji, the youth left the court premises to allow the case be entertained.
His worship, on his way coming to the court, he noticed these crowds and he sent for me and I was there. He told me that he was not comfortable seeing this crowd, that he felt insecure seeing the number of people outside his court. So he asked me to convey this message to the followers that if really they want this trial to continue, they should vacate the premises of this honorable court.
In the meantime, the presiding judge is expected to entertain the bail application before him on February 3rd, 2022, before the commencement of hearing. Idris Jibril, Trust TV News, Kano.
Nigerian Senate says there are indications that the Finance Bill, now Finance Act, may be amended anytime soon. This is after the Comptroller General of the Nigeria Customs Service, Colonel Hamid Ali, informed the Senate Committee on Finance that the custom is no longer a revenue-generating agency due to the amendment of some sections of the country's laws. This came to light on Monday at an interactive session with revenue-generating agencies on the need to improve the internal generated revenue of the government.
Barely a month after the passage of the Finance Bill into law, an important change is to be made in order for the Act to be fully relevant. The Comptroller General of the Nigerian Customs Service, retired Colonel Hamid Ali, noted that the passage of Section 68 of the Federal Inland Revenue Service Act has now taken precedence over any other law in terms of administration and revenue collection, and therefore relegating the Customs Service to the background in terms of revenue generation.
Senate President, sir, I want to go to subsection 2 of the same Act. It says, subject to subsection 1, and notwithstanding any other law imposing taxes or levies in Nigeria, the service shall be the primary agency of the federal government of Nigeria, responsible for the administration, assessment, collection, accounting, enforcement of taxes and levies due to the Federation.
And that's it on News Updates. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Zainab Bala. Thank you for watching.